And in the category of now what the are you doing? What we are doing is we're going to try and put some sort of audio in onto the car or the radio. It's got a cassette deck, never use it. Let's see if we can't hack into there. I've seen some people do just that in various other videos, so let's try and pop this thing open and see if we can't find a reasonable place in order to jack into the tape portion of our radio. So it looks like there's just a couple of screws there that allow you to pop the top cover off. So let's see what's inside once we've got that off. Oh, come on. You can do it. There we go. Ah, look at that. A CD player. Who would have thunk it? So that's the top. So looks like the brains of the operation are somewhere buried in the middle, of course. Pull the tabs off. Tabs on the bottom. Yes, a couple. Oh, look at that. So there's just a little connector there that provides a interconnect between the front panel and the remainder of the unit. There's the logic board there. There's our nice little cassette deck. Let's see what we can't get out of the inside of here. That front panel ties those things together through those screws. Sure. Drop it into the guts. Never to be seen again. Remind me that I've got something lost in there, okay? Doesn't look like it. Alright. That just pops up and out. Oh, there we are. There's the cassette deck. Now, should be able to get that other screw out. Hello there. There it is. Okay. Cassette deck. FM tuner. Okay. Full disc. So now, where were we? Oh yeah. Getting this puppy out. Look at that. I do believe we've got that faceplate off. And now, whoa, wow. If you see in there, there's a daughter board connector. This thing looks like it might just pop right out. Indeed. Except for that little connector there. What exactly direction are you supposed to be plugging into? Wow. Yeah, that is definitely the read head. There. So that is going to the read head. Right there. So, what do we got? If we zoom in on that sucker a little bit, focus, we can do it. There we go. What does that look to you like to you? It looks like we've got over here, we've got a big ground plane that seems unconnected to those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So left, right, and left ground, right ground. What? Do a bit of Googling to figure out what the pinout of a read head is. But anyways, that would get you preamp level signals going into our main board here. What we're looking for is a preamplifier circuit. Sorry. That's the connector it came in on. What we're looking for is a preamplifier circuit in here somewhere prior to going to an amplifier. So look at that. We've got a couple of pots here. One's labeled left channel. You can't see that, can you? Not even close. Maybe now. Okay, we have a couple of pots here, or what look like some sort of a trimmer pots, left and right. And then what is this chip? We'll have to look that up. But it looks like we have some capacitors connected across here. I don't know what that is. Maybe an inductor. Let's take a bit of a Google and see if we can't find some sort of a, I don't know, what, draft implementation of a car stereo. There's some unpopulated footprints. I wonder if that's for things like navigation system that they didn't put in this one. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connectors going off to, so there's 6 active. Well, not necessarily. But what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 RC pairs? Why would you do that? Capacitors I could understand for DC decoupling. But, well, we'll see what's going on. Well, I suppose I could just try reading the connector as well. So, R, L, R, R, F, R, ground, F, L, and common. F, L, right, L. Front, rear? What? This couldn't be... Oh, forward and reverse. Duh. Man, it's been so long since I've used a cassette that I forgot that they go in 2 directions. So the if you remember cassettes, I don't know if you do. You may be, I don't know, like too young. But early on, well, they have 2 sides. So at one point you had to pull a cassette out, turn it over, and put it back in, because people would only have a one side. Well, because the tape, you have like a top track and a bottom track. So one thing that you used to have to do on very early cassettes is like push the little knob to pop it out and then pop the cassette back in, and you would get the other side, and the motors only had to go one way, and it made things easier for the designers, so they didn't have to have a bidirectional motor for one thing, didn't have to tension the tape in 2 different directions. But you know, as technology improves, you you learned how to do these things in a more energy cost-effective way. So you also only have to have one read head in your and one write head in your device, or in your recording or your read back device. So now what they've got is, miracles of technology, bidirectional motors and 2 read heads, so that you don't have to take the tape out and flip it over. Awesome. But for a moment there, I forgot entirely that there was forward and reverse. So anyways, here we go. Forward, reverse, left and right. We'll have to figure out what to tie into with that, or if we tie in there at all. A little trip down memory lane there for some of you, and for others, yeah, skip forward. I know. Okay, so a little bit about what's going on inside this thing. These are the antenna, FM and AM antenna. This is the FM tuner, phase lock loop tuner, that will do both FM and AM. It's got some RF shielding around it. This guy here is the actual amplifier module for the output, amp. Let's take that heatsink off and see what kind of amp they used. I mean, why not? We're inside. It's not like bad things are going to happen. Except, it's all soldered in. So it's not just removing the heatsink. Okay, now we are not that curious. I mean, we're curious, but we're not that curious. Make sure we get it all tightened up, because it is in a bit of a vibrating environment. It's not just sitting on your desk. So that leaves us with outputs to various interlocks, outputs to your speakers, I would guess, given the gauge of these things. Now, what I/O would you need for these guys that it's not actually connected to? I'm wondering if it's possible that there are line in on one of these connectors somehow. Because what else could those be connecting to? What else could they be connecting to? That's a puzzle to me. Was there an option for a CD changer in this thing, or what? So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Are those all populated? Yes, they are. So front speakers and rear speakers, or so a couple in the dash, couple in the door, and then into the back, because I know it's got front and rear. I wonder if we don't even have to muck with the tape deck, and we can actually just go in on that. Let's see if we can't find anything on the Googler. So really, who plays CDs anymore either? So let's try and hack into the CD changer input. So here's what we've got. We've got something that looks a bit like this for a connector. Ground is pin 1. 12 is battery plus. All right, in between there, we've got a bunch of other things. Apparently there's some kind of protocol developed for inter-device communication between head units and CD changers and navigation systems and blah blah blah. Of course, you know, let's strike a committee and have all the manufacturers get together and send engineers off to conferences, and we'll come up with a new standard of something. Sure, why not? Sounds like a way to spend a good chunk of change. Anyways, it turns out that you've got TX plus and minus on pins 9 and 10. TX plus minus. So there's some sort of signaling going on here. 11 is power supply accessory. So that is it an output or an input? I'm gonna guess that it's an output. So it's gonna be sending plus 12 off to your accessory. So there's a 12 volt output, probably regulated. This plus and minus, I'm thinking, I've seen a couple of websites. Somebody talks about sending. So on these signal lines, it's probably some sort of, you know, the usual kind of crap, square wave type signaling according to some clock frequency that's preset for the bus. So we could possibly just set one of these pins high or low and tell it that there's a head unit, a CD changer attached, possibly. Oh, sorry. But I don't know 100% yet. I have to look into the spec of that. What are the rest of the pins? Pin 7 is a ground. Another ground. Sure, why not? This is no connection. Pin 6 is mute. Mute. That could be a good feature. I could put a button somewhere and I could turn off the MP3. Not that I need to, because I mean the phone will be right there. I can just mute the phone, but whatevs. That leaves 1, 2, 3, 4. What possibly could be those 4 pins for? I would say left and right. Right and left and plus and minus. Plus, minus, plus, minus. So, as a first pass, what we're going to do is we're going to solder an stereo audio connector onto the onto those pins there. Should be able to get in those because inconveniently enough, I should say, we've got to get into the bottom row of those. We could probably sneak our way in there. I might even just use a Caesar jumper to get in there for testing. You can snake this guy out the front, and we can pop that back into the dash, and we can see see what we get. Maybe we have to do some fiddling with power signaling on these lines, and I can also take the multimeter out and see what I get for a voltage on that line there. But yeah, it definitely looks like a doable project. Okay, if this is going to become a permanent solution, we'll probably have to pull the board out and solder onto the back side of the connector, because that's just, the soldering iron is just too big to get in between there, and it can't be strain relieved or anything like that, because I'm going to need to hot glue something down on the on this connector. But for now, it'll be good enough for testing. Okay, so that failed, but I did learn something. I've got the back connector free, or the 12-pin connector free, so I can just plug into the back of it. I don't have to do any futzing around on the inside here. So I will undo what I just did and then see what I can do about getting some signals into the remainder of those pins to try and enable an external unit. Okay, so we've got our outputs connected, our inputs connected, audio inputs connected. So now we're going to hack up a little 5-volt supply. So we're going to see if we tie the TX plus line high, it will make it look like we've got a CD changer on the system, or at least a broken CD changer on the system, but maybe it'll even play. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I know, I should get out the heat gun, but lazy, lazy, lazy. So we fabricate up some jumpers. Where'd that other guy go? Yeah, right there. I don't really know if my national broadcaster wants to be associated with me, but anyways, here we are with This Is the Background Music. What do you know? Steady as a drunken surgeon. Because I hate using electrical tape. That's what we've got. Plus 12. And what do we have on the other side of there? Low, and behold, 5 volts. Turn that off. Put a filter capacitor on this side. And get our plus 5 volts out wires. And surprise, surprise, that didn't work either. So I guess what's left is to try and learn about the interconnect. Whoops. So I guess what's left is learn about the interconnect bus for automobiles and design a little board that can communicate as if it is a CD changer or something, like understand what the bus mastering does on that bus, and then program a microcontroller so that you can send signals to tell the head unit to do whatever it needs to be done. But that seems like a big project, actually. Doesn't seem like it's a bad project, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I ever get around to it. But that's what will be needed. It's looking like. Now, I hope I can get all the screws back in. Where did I put the screws? Oh well, we'll find out soon enough. I forgot totally what my original hack was going to be, which was to spoof the read head on the tape deck. So I found a connector that is almost identical. I just had to cut a couple of grooves into the side to match grooves in the pin, and so now I just solder in the headphone jack onto this in the forward direction, and then I go and get a cassette tape, if I can find a cassette tape anywhere in the world, and then pull it apart, make a loop of tape so that it just spins around, and until the tape breaks, I have MP3age off of my phone. That's the plan.